Good evening and salutations, my soap opera fans. I want to talk about Gregory for a hot minute because I'm going to be honest. What is the point of his character? When he first came in, I knew that they were going to sit there and try to do something with him and Alexis, this quote unquote chemistry test or whatever. But he seemed like he actually had a decent storyline when he came in. There was the whole paternity between, if Chase is really his son or is it Ben. You had that whole thing going on. You had the whole thing going on with him and his wife or his ex-wife or whatever. But now you look at it now from back then, and it's like, what is even the point of his character being on the show? I mean, he helps Alexis, I guess, with this whole hook killer thing. But he comes into the office, and Alexis is like, "Don't you got like work or class or whatever to attend to?" And she starts to notice that he's not really talking about his job. She feels that most professors usually love talking about their job. They love talking about how they inspire people and the crazy conversations that they have. And she says to him, are you just not interested in teaching anymore? She knows that there's a certain lack of interest, and she offers him a job. I mean, they talked about it before, but this time it wasn't a hypothetical. But it just made me realize, like, what's even the point of you being on the show? Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really feel like he really contributes too much of anything to this show. And it's one of those things where it's like, they gave him, as far as I'm concerned, well, from other people told me that he's on contract. But yet you have Molly, who's been on the show since she was a kid. And what did they give her? What did she really do yesterday? She came in, she was being all cute with TJ. One second. And then that was about it. Yeah, you have this guy who just does absolutely nothing except for be Alexa's sidekick. And yeah, I don't really get the point of his character anymore. Um Ben was there earlier to sit there and try to get some sort of legal advice from Alexis, talking about, oh, I'm asking for a friend. Long story short, she was like, your friend needs to turn herself in, or your friend needs to turn themselves in, because it will go a lot better um, than if they just hide it. I don't even really know what to say about the whole Will and Michael stuff. Um, they named the baby Amelia. Amelia Grace Corinthos. I don't understand how Michael is so against Sonny and everything like that. But yet he has no problem using the Corinthos name when it suits him. When he wants to sit there and show a position of power, or he needs favors, or he knows that by his last name the enemies are going. That's something else. He sits there and he comes down so hard on Sonny. My whole thing is like, without Sonny's protection, you'd be done. You would have been donezo a long time ago. You and your entire family would have been donezo. But I just don't understand how you name that child last name Corinthos, yet you can't stand your quote unquote father. I don't get that. But anyway, yeah, that's the child's name. Amelia Grace Corinthos. Other than that, Willow woke up. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care about any of that other stuff that happened between those two. Austin did come in, and I guess they're going to sit there and talk about the stem cells tomorrow. So I guess we'll wait for that. But everything else is just really didn't care. Carly was there. She got to meet the child, so that's great. Um, I always talk about how Sunny, favorite character. Every day I watch this show, there's just so many times where Sunny just seems so irrelevant as far as being on this show, you know? Like they could did this whole episode without Sunny, and it really wouldn't have mattered. It really wouldn't have mattered. Sunny made no impact on the show, and I can't stand saying that, but it's the truth. Um, Nina talks to Obrick about how she has to stay away from Willow because Willow wants to parts of her, and she's kind of sad about that, and she can't really be in there to really hold the baby and stuff like that. So she's upset about that stuff. Um, they talk a little bit about Carly and whatever sort of secret that Nina feels like she's keeping. The hug and everything like that. It was something that was just off about the whole conversation. Off about the whole interaction. And Ulrich is like, all right, let's find out what it is. Keep digging. Because Ulrich wants that revenge. Ulrich wants that revenge, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Ulrich was like, you and her. I don't want to sit there and say they're the same, but they've both done some really bad things, and yet Carly has just been getting a free pass, like there's no tomorrow. And by this latest storyline, that's literally what she's getting. She's getting a free pass. Brick is like, that's not right. And I 100% agree with that. Now, she did have a conversation with Ben that just seemed extremely petty as far as, Liz called Scotty. And Scotty ran towards her. And, when they passed by each other, Finn walked past them, and then you ever just had that one thing where you're just like, I don't want to say anything to this person, but whatever. So he's like, hey, listen, I just want to give my condolences to you and your family as far as Britt. And, old Brick says something along the lines of, yeah, that's really great, even though you're lacking in attendance towards her memorial. By the way, is there a difference between a funeral and a memorial? I'm very curious about that. But yeah, she did call him out on the fact that, yeah, condolences. You weren't really here for that, but, whatever, I guess that's nice. But then she was like, you need to do something about your friend, Elizabeth. I was with Scotty, and then Liz called about some price that she couldn't handle. And I was just like, is that really necessary? On top of that, that seems so petty and so beneath Ulbrich that I just don't understand why they felt the need to add that in there. Like, okay, well, he's a lawyer. If it wasn't going to be Liz, it was going to be somebody else. Why does that matter? Um, so Ava's having nightmares about Nicholas, and Austin walks in. And, at first Ava is being kind of rude, like, oh, well, what are you still doing here? And, you woke me up and you scared me. And, Austin's like, you don't want to actually ask me to stay here last night. So, what's up with the attitude? I mean, I know I'm not exactly in the best mood before I start eating breakfast, but I want to just kind of take it down a notch. Anyway, Austin did confirm that Nicholas is dead. So, unless, Austin and Nicholas are in cahoots or something like that, as far as he's concerned, he's dead. But of course, I have to sit there and say that with a grain of salt, saying how Peter was dead by two doctors, well, a doctor and a nurse, and yet within a couple weeks, my dude is literally just walking around in some nice shoes, just walking like he didn't just fall down a flight of steps. And they both checked his pulse. So even though Austin did say that Nicholas is dead, yeah, I want to sit there and say, yeah, he's a doctor and he's right. So is Finn. And Liz is a nurse, and they were both wrong. So there's that. Now, Ava does try to get Austin to just leave and forget what he knows. She doesn't want to be caught up in all the stuff that's going to wind up happening to her. She's like, yo, listen, no one knows that you were here. You could just leave and that could just be about it. But Austin wants to help for reasons unknown. Because, yeah, I just like yesterday, I still don't understand why is he so adamant on like helping her cover it up and not saying anything. And I'm like, bro, you're going to be an accessory after the fact, just like Liz. But they do talk about Liz. And at first, Austin's like, well, wouldn't, given everything, because, they talk about the whole Liz and her being an accessory to Nicholas' crimes. And Austin's like, you would think that she would want to cover that up. But, Ava's like, well, she does have a conscience. Laura comes in, and Laura's not there looking for Nicholas. And so Ava lies to her face and it's like, oh, yeah, we argue because, they had some sort of cover stories upstairs. And, it was like, yeah, we argued, we fought or whatever. And then he left in a huff. And then that was about it. So, not really much to that story. I think there was some blood that was on the floor. I think she was kind of worried that Laura may have saw or Laura might see. Laura did sit there and pay Liz a visit. And, talking about Nicholas and everything. But, Liz is feeling guilty about her part and, she's thinking about turning herself in. She doesn't tell Laura the real reason of why she decided to end her friendship with Nicholas. Because, reasons. So after Laura leaves, Liz calls Scott and is like, I'm in trouble. But she doesn't really get into the details in this episode about why she's in trouble. She's just like, I need your help. It's funny, too, because people in the comments section, the last couple of days, is like, yo, you better call Scotty, Well, she finally called Scotty. So, I mean, it just made sense. Her conscience was bothering her. So she was going to do something. At first, she was just going to go straight to the cops. I was like, that's not a good idea. I mean, go to Scotty and then go to the cops and see what y'all can work out. I think that's about it for the most part. I don't think I've really forgot too much, or I don't think I left too much out. This episode, you pretty much could have skipped it. Let's be honest, you could have skipped it. I feel like at this point, because I've been saying this for a while, that some of these episodes, when they hit, they're really good. When they miss, it really sucks. And I've had a couple live streams where I've talked about, this wasn't a good episode. And people always have said that, not every episode can be good. On some level, I kind of agree with them. But at the same time, I've always said, when did average become the new norm? Like when it just being an okay episode became comfortable for people. And some of these episodes are just generally skippable. They're skippable. That's why, I mean, when you really stop to think about it, why do you think they still have Soap Opera Digest? I mean, yeah, they give you a lot of scoops and some insider stuff, but for the most part, it does kind of just give you a recap on what's been going on. It's pretty much what me, DC, Brock, and every other reviewer has been doing since I've joined this platform. You know? Stop and think about it. Well, you got 20 minutes of a review or 15 minutes of a review as opposed to an hour of your life that you can't take back. Okay, especially if it's an okay average episode, because a lot of these episodes they tend to repeat a lot of stuff. They make sure that you're caught up on stuff. So it's just how it is. And again, I think that even soap operas realize that. which is why, you got stuff like, oh, ABC Digest and stuff like that. I mean, when you really think about it, most people can look this stuff up online, yet they still print it. It's sort of like newspapers. Like, there's a reason why newspapers are still existing, even though you can look everything up on your phone. It just, I don't really know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say, but if I think about it, later on, I'll talk about it in tonight's live stream. That is 5 p.m. I mean, that is 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Now, hold on. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I still get those time zones like just mixed up sometimes. But yeah, if I think anything between now and then, I will definitely sit there and talk about it live. And of course, if I missed anything, we can sit there and talk about it live as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and yeah. If it's one thing that this week has told me as far as doing live streams, is that you never know who's gonna stop by. So hopefully I'll see you during that time, and I will see you in the next video.